Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Jubei and STX here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. Here we have STX spawning as the red Terran player. Meanwhile, we have Jubei spawning as the blue Protoss player here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. I'm not sure what map I said it was the first time. I don't think I said Xel'Naga Caverns, but yeah, this is Xel'Naga Caverns. So this will be Protoss versus Terran, one of those matchups that I really like to study and try to figure out what's happening recently. A lot of changes have been happening in terms of the metagame. For a long while, a lot of Protoss players were saying that Terran is just simply overpowered. There is nothing that Protoss can do, and with very minimal changes to the actual Protoss units, all of a sudden Protoss players in the late game are just simply swarming and able to defeat a Terran player fairly easily. However, it is the job of the Protoss player to be able to fend off that early Marauder stim rush that a lot of Protoss players have been telling me that that's what they have a problem trying to fight back against. So we'll see if this game even plays out that way, if it will get to the late game. I obviously know, since I know the length of the replay, but I will act like I don't. STX setting up a 12 Brax over here, and now we just most likely will be training up a Marine, trying to make sure that no probes are able to wander around on the inside of that base. We do see one probe now making its way out across the map. That probe will be able to quickly come up that ramp, but however, I believe that this barracks will be completed or nearing completion just as that probe is able to come up that ramp. So it does not look like that probe will be doing any serious harassment. We do see a current refinery being placed down by STX as well. So STX most likely going for that standard tech build instead of trying to go for mass barracks at this point. Probe trying to kind of come in, realize that the barracks is nearing completion, and that SCV would be able to come off that in just a second. And now in comes this probe. We do see an upgrade to an orbital command already, as we already have Jubei currently getting one gateway over here. We should be seeing a Cybernetics core perhaps right here, just trying to make it look pretty. There we go. Does it look? Yeah, look at that nice little almost a symmetrical build between this Cybernetics core and this gateway back over here. So we have this Nexus currently in play. Gonna most likely continue to chrono boost and try to get a strong economy. I'm curious to see if Jubei goes for a 2-gate strategy or a 2-gate with the robotics facility. That's pretty much the standard opening against Terran recently, and they don't deviate too much from that build anymore. Most likely we will see a Stalker currently come into play as soon as the Cybernetics core is done, and then chrono boost that Stalker as well. Back over here we do see a Tech Lab now being placed down, and 2 Marines on the low ground making sure to try to stop that probe, and down goes that probe. So nicely done. STX making sure to get that probe and shoot it down. We do also have the chrono boosting on that warp gate, on the warp gate research, and also on the Stalker. So one early Stalker followed by that Sentry. The Stalker there to make sure that no Reapers are able to deal any harassment damage, and followed up with that Sentry. So that Sentry will be able to block this ramp over here. Now, how will STX respond? STX may be trying to go for an early expansion attempt, as he is getting these Marines and the Marauders, but I don't see any additional tech buildings. So STX now will most likely be placing down a command center here, getting up to 400 minerals, and then once he gets that 400 minerals, he will be able to establish this an expansion over here, and then be able to get a strong economic lead. Jubei, however, realizing as soon as he gets any units up that ramp, will quickly realize and see into his opponent's base that there is no real production buildings, and he will be able to get an expansion of his own. So taking a look, was that Stalker able to see anything? I do not think the Stalker was able to see anything additionally. However, I believe he was able to get a quick check and a quick status of this army, owning 2 Marauders and 2 Marines, and we should be getting a Nexus momentarily coming in from Jubei in just a second as well. You can see he's already sitting on 400, 500 minerals as well. Perhaps he's waiting for that gateway to complete. He does have 3 gateways, however, so 3 gateways will be able to warp in some additional units, and there's that Nexus that I was talking about in just a moment. However, Marauders and Marines now making their way out across the map. Will they be able to take down this Nexus? The timing on this attack is absolutely perfect. However, with those gateways now being completed, warp gates now being completed, and now in comes some force fields, these units will get taken down. However, the Nexus is getting the precious time it needs in order to in order to get some additional hit points and protect itself. Down go those force fields. However, more Marauders and Marines will be coming in. Yeah, there's an additional Marauder getting off another concussive shell, and now using that slow attack, trying to turn around, making sure that those Zealots are unable to give into that chase. We do see a reactor currently come into play, as now Sticks now opening up into more of a 3-racks build with 1 reactor, and now upgrading to an orbital command as well. Taking a look at the harvester count, and we see 25 compared to 28, so Jubei still having a slight economic advantage just because of that chrono boost. However, Sticks will be able to mine off of 2 mules in just a second as more units now try to take this low ground expansion here. So Jubei sitting on 2 Stalkers, 2 Sentries, a couple of Zealots, continuing to produce more and more units, and also transferring 11 probes to this low ground. So those probes on this low ground will be able to get significant a number of minerals, more than if they try to continue to mine off of this location. Perhaps I'll do a graph or a chart on some day telling about the difference between 1, 2, and 3 workers mining from a mineral patch. We do see a group of Sentries now and Zealots now making their way out. 1 SCV will quickly get taken down there. Down it goes, as those Stalkers are able to activate this Xel'Naga watchtower, able to see more Marauders and Marines trying to come back in. Another Marine coming in over here, quickly getting taken down as well. So Sticks doing a great job of just trying to keep track of this army, however losing a lot of units in the process. So I guess it's not that great of a job, as we now see additional pylons currently being warped in as well. And we should start seeing some production buildings over here on this low ground as well, as we now see 1 probe making its way out across the map, wants to see if there is an expansion, most likely knows that it is there, but just wants them and just confirm for his own betterment there, as we now are getting a reactor and a factory. So Sticks most likely will also be double training medevacs in just a moment. Marauders now just using stim. Are we gonna get some force fields? Force fields now trapping some of those Marauders in place. 3 of those Marauders unable to escape, and down a couple of those gold. Sticks now for some reason able to survive with 1 additional Marauder there, and that 1 Zealot I guess did not want to kill that Marauder able to return all the way home. So 2 low hit point Marauders able to return home, and now with medevacs currently being trained, those Marauders will get back up to full life relatively quickly. And now we do see these armies are moving out once again, and we do see Jubei also sitting on a much larger gas army. So that gas army will allow him, we should see more interesting play, more force fields, and better counter units. Those Stalkers perhaps will be able to start blinking in just a moment. No Twilight Council, as we are now going into the robotics bay. So the robotics bay will allow for the training of Colossi, and because I believe Sticks was not able to slow down his Protoss opponent nearly enough, I believe the advantage is starting to shift into Jubei's favor, even though everything at this point in the game is fairly even. Harvester count, army count is even in fact in favor of Sticks. I believe that Jubei will be able to pull off this win, as he is now getting Immortals and starting to train some Colossi. As soon as those Colossi have that extended thermal lance range, and as soon as we start to see some additional High Templar, things will change very, very quickly. And Sticks needs to start training up some Vikings. He has not scanner sweeped his opponent, I believe, so he has no idea about this fight yet. And in comes this fight over here. 1 observer now in the air, able to trap only 1 of those Marauders. However, a drop quickly into the base of Sticks. So Sticks now dropping into the base over here will be able to get some damage off. And now we see a group of Marines and Marauders also coming in over here as well. So this is going to be a 2-pronged attack, fighting over here in the left and in the right, in the main base and at the expansion as well. 1 Immortal trying to fight back, unable to, as those Marines with stim able to just continue to deal more and more damage. 1 robotics facility quickly and being saved there, as those Stalkers trying to get underneath that medevac down to 15 hit points. These Marauders escaping through this brush over here, so nicely done, and able to fight another day. We do see the Mobius reactor, so the Mobius reactor meaning we are going to see Ghost in just a moment. So the Ghosts are there to try to counter those Immortals. We also see Colossus and the extended thermal lance research. So Colossus will have a range of 9 in just a moment as well. And now with 1 Colossus currently being trained, most likely we should also see a Templar Archives and a Twilight Council come into play momentarily, as well as Jubei, as Protoss players really like to get Psy Storm and Colossus against late game Terran. Now, a lot of players have wondered or have asked me why a Terran player just doesn't go mass mech at a stage like this. One of the things that you have to consider, especially in StarCraft 2 compared to StarCraft 1, is that mass mech is much more gas intensive in StarCraft 2 than in StarCraft 1. siege tanks cost an additional 25 gas, so that means that you pretty much cannot train more than 2 siege tanks at the same time if you're running off of one base, and then no more than 3 siege tanks at the same time if you're running off of 2 bases. So 1 to 2 siege tanks if you're running off of 1 base, about 3 siege tanks if you're running off of 2 bases. Now, that means that you'll be forced to just train a lot of low gas intensive units. That means that you will just be training up more Marines and Marauders, maybe some Hellions, but Hellions have not ever found themselves all too useful in frontline combat. So that means that you're going to be trying to just train up more Marines and Marauders. And if you're going to be training up that many Marines and Marauders to try to dump your minerals, you might as well be spending your gas on medevacs, as medevacs better complement your force. So that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of Marine Marauder medevac plays, some Ghost as well, but all of these gas units are there more as a complement instead of a massive army. We do see 3 Ghosts simply moving out, and those Ghosts will be able to get off a lot of EMP shockwaves. Jubei clumping up a lot of his units together. That's going to be a very, very bad fight there. 3 EMP shockwaves depleting all the shields. However, some force fields being able to come down as those sentries did not get hit by that EMP shockwave. 1 observer now in the air, still able to gain sight on this front door a little bit, and now medevacs coming around the far side. Jubei does see that these medevacs are in play, trying to shoot them down out of the sky. Will he be able to get 1 medevac down? And now as those units are quickly going to be dropped into play, those Colossi are simply going to be able to deal a lot of damage very, very quickly with that 9 range. We also see another group of units trying to come in over here. So STX trying to do another two-pronged attack between these 2 locations. However, STX now in a little bit of trouble, being forced to pull back. And as this medevac drop play is not working, I believe STX is now just going to continue to be able to get a stronger and stronger army. You can see now, I am so sorry about that. Let me pause the replay and fix this window over here. Yeah, close enough for, nope. That seems close enough. Alright, gonna go ahead and start this up again. We do see Colossi and Sentries once again moving out. Sentries quickly taking down that one. Well, medevac down to 17 hit points. Will it be enough to get shot down? Stalkers do move a little bit more, or much more quickly than those medevacs. 2.91 versus 2.5. As those medevacs did get a little bit of a debuff in terms of their movement speed. Stalkers now trying to give chase, will be able to take down 1 SCV as this group of Marauders and Marines simply going to engage once again. Zealots now trying to engage, no force fields, a little bit of surprise there. 1 force field stopping 1 Marauder, however, more force fields will continue to be engaged. These Marauders, however, taking a lot of stim damage now and trying to pull back once again. Those Marauders needing the stim again, and you can see how much damage has been dealt across all of these Marauders taking so much damage. We do see some of these Colossi now able to just engage once again, able to get more and more damage on these units, continuing to stim back and forth. A lot of these Marauders now down to in that red damage zone, now trying to move away. However, those Zealots, and without that Zealot charge, will not be able to engage on these Marauders. And now this 1 Colossi continuing to just try to give chase. Will it be enough? Not quite sure. We do see a couple of Vikings now in the air. So Vikings in the air, and now a lot of Stalkers, Zealots, and Stalkers, Zealots on the ground, continuing to push back and forth. And will these Stalkers be able to engage here? We do have a fight here. Nice force field stopping a lot of those units from being able to engage. Vikings now trying to pull back. And also on the ground, unable to engage onto any of these Colossi as they are standing tall, continuing to fight back and forth, now trying to use that stim. However, that stim dealing a lot of damage across those Marauders, and things are not looking good for this fight or this engagement at all. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Jubei and STX here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.